Good morning. Okay. I am ready to allow the joyous, fun, creative, and at complete ease career I've requested. But I have unwittingly continued to allow in my face daily reality to disallow my readiness. And,
Well, you can't have it both ways. In other words, you're either ready or you're not. So what you're actually saying is, I want to be ready, but I'm not always, but sometimes I am, and sometimes more than others. And I know what that readiness feels like, and I got a handle on this, and it's getting better and better. And at least I know how to guide it, or even as important, I know when I'm not guiding it. And so?
well, one thing that in the past 3 or 4 days, listening to you, of course, that I've thought of that really helps drive me into the solution part is I think about what I'm asking for, what I want. Then I think about how broad the universe is, how expansive it is, how amazing, magnificent it is. You know, everything from wonderful people to wonderful food to wonderful entertainment to just, And when I look at how all that exists and continue to expand every day, and then I look about just the few things I'm asking for, it's absurd to think that I can't have them.
Really good point.
Yeah.
Really good
So
point.
where I get caught up in is my description.
Before you go further, we want to just insert something here that we think will be meaningful to the conversation. As you've observed us here today, and at other times perhaps, have any of you noticed how there is nothing that we enjoy more than a really good question? And have you noticed how just really good answers come in response to really good questions? You notice that? And have you noticed then that really good solutions come in response to really good problems? Doesn't it sort of make you want to let yourself off the hook a little bit and give yourself the leeway of identifying what the problem is so that you can experience the joyous experience of the solution taking shape because you let the problem take shape. You don't let the problem take shape. Better said, the whole time the problem is taking shape, the whole time the solution is taking shape. It's happening at the same time. You just have to decide, how big does this problem need to get before you're ready for the solution? How about that for a good way to say it? Well, the problem is not very big, so the solution won't be very satisfying. So I think I'll let it get really, really, really big, and then the solution will be really, really, really satisfying. There's more to that than you will admit, because you like the drama. Yeah.
I suppose to make it simple, my concrete example is I am very happy with the kind of work that I do, but the content of it bores me and depresses me often. And I know that the best way to get away from that is not to think about getting away from it, but focus on what it is I want to do.
So does the work just not have the potential of having the kind of expansion in it that you want?
The work itself, it does. Yes.
Because every particle of the universe has the properties of expansion within them. So why have you decided to carve out a different attitude about this particular subject?
Because the work itself can be fun and inspiring, but it's somehow I veered off into the content. The subject matter is just not creative to me. It's not rewarding.
But in the process of doing that, didn't you create a solution that you're depriving yourself of?
Yes, yes.
And isn't the answer to how to cease the deprivation, to cease pinpointing the deprivation? It's the story that you're telling that is the problem. You see, you don't know that because it feels to you like you're telling the story in response to this reality. And that might be. But you're creating the next reality in response to the story that you're telling about the current reality. So now you started to tell the story a little bit differently. So keep doing that with us here for a moment.
Okay.
I like the kind of work I do. I just want a different what?
I want the actual stories that I'm telling in my work to be more fun. I want them to be more creative. I want to work with like-minded people on that creative vibe.
Can you feel in any way that that desire is more powerful, that that desire while you may not be allowing it quite yet, that it's getting bigger because of the contrast that you've been living?
It certainly feels very pleasant to think on it. And it's not hard to feel that pleasantness when I think about it.
So what's the problem?
The fact that I don't mean to do it, but when I sit down at my desk every day and bring up these videos to edit, I'm just like, oh, this again, and it's 8 hours of it, and it's 8 hours of, have you got these videos done? Here's more of them. And they're all, it's hard for me not.
So we have some questions for you. So there's a process that you use for this. There's a computer program that assists you in the process of it. Are you becoming more skilled at it?
That I am, yes.
Are you considerably more skilled at it with the most recent editing than in the early editing?
Definitely.
Is there satisfaction in your personal improvement about it?
Yes, oh yes.
Is your experience mostly about the content of the video, or mostly about the process that you apply to it?
It's the content, yeah.
But does it need to be?
No, it doesn't have to, no.
Couldn't your process be more important to you than the content? Couldn't you take satisfaction in the improved approach that you have? Has it ever surprised you that you could go so long before you figured out a substantially better way to do something when that better way was possible all along?
Happens often.
Do you think that you have some unique tricks or skills that you've discovered that you apply that others using the same program may not even know about?
Yeah.
Can you feel that your focus varies, that sometimes you're more intuitive than others?
Definitely.
Is it possible that there is content in some of those videos that your inner being is enjoying that you are not allowing yourself to enjoy along with your inner being?
Possibly, yes.
Let's really stay here for just a moment, because this is always true. When you feel negative emotion, you always have a different perspective than your inner being. Oh, my inner being likes this. My inner being sees some value in this, and I'm choosing to see no value because I've decided even before I started this one that it's just like the ones that have come before, when nothing is just like what came before. You're different in every moment. Your relationship with your inner being is different in every moment. And just as your ability to hone your skills relative to the process keeps improving, and it does, your ability to receive something from this really tremendous amount of content that's flowing through your fingertips is there also. Ooh, could this be a resource of information for me? Could there be something hidden between the lines? Esther is watching the World Series, and Esther is discovering things about what Abraham teaches that are evident in everything that's happening on that baseball field. It's not just a baseball game. It's evidence of the laws of the universe. It's evidence of momentum. It's evidence of the way the energy is flowing. It's evidence of how that person feels right here, right now. It's evidence of the momentum of the crowd. It's evidence of everything that she's come to know. And the satisfaction factor in watching, Esther has previously described baseball games as equivalent to watching paint dry. But not this time. There is always the ability to comprehend at a deeper level whatever it is that you're focused upon. And when you cut yourself off from that, you can't help but have an unpleasant time.
Okay, yes. I think you've taken care of me.
And anyway, there's another thing we want to cap this off with, and you're going to like this. Conditional living of life, which is I seek out good conditions to observe so that I can have a good feeling response to what I'm observing, traps you because it makes you need only good conditions in order to feel good. But achieving alignment anyway frees you to the entire spectrum of life and this planet and the participants on it. There are riches for you in the most unlikely places. And when you discover them, then a plethora of magnificent things is possible to be discovered everywhere. So if you were on a treasure hunt. And all the treasures were just laying on top of the ground for everyone to see. And so it just became a mad dash to see who could elbow each other out of the way to scoop up the treasures. Think about the satisfaction factor in that. Or think about the treasures being disguised and hidden where only really intuitive, tuned-in people can find them. And imagine yourself tuned in. Imagine others tuned in too. Imagine watching the discovery for yourself and others of these treasures and measure the satisfaction factor. You didn't say, I want the treasures to be obvious. You just said, I want treasures. And we know for sure that this treasure called satisfaction is in so many places that people don't allow because they've made up their mind. There's no treasure here. There's no treasure here. Well, if you believe there's no treasure there, you're not going to find one. But if you believe there is a treasure everywhere, it might be worth 8 hours of editing to find it, because when you find it, it's going to feel worth it. Mm-hmm. It's going to feel worth it. Really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.